Hello, good to you. I'm Kong Jae-hwan. I'm an ACCA member and I'm hope to share regarding advanced performance management to help those students to which taking this subject to share about how to like make the summary of the syllabus, right? Like the keywords, the key terms, key concept, uh, by writing down um, part by part, then you're able to recall what are the elements of certain um, topic. So this is how I share with my student, right? Last time in the October tuition. Although right now I already stopped taking any student for the APM online tuition. Nevertheless, this all notes APM Content 1 prepared by written by me. This summary, I hope to give you an idea how you can um, combine the concept with the uh, keywords so that in the exam you can recall easily. All right, so this is the method. Uh, take note that this is not the same as the current syllabus. Some part may be in other session, but some part may be already uh, not there in the new syllabus. So I will let you know what I go through. So I will quickly go through whatever the keywords so you can see how to remember, right? Remember the terms uh, using the by writing down and then reading out, then you can have a better memory during your exam. So let's go through. So you write balance scorecard, financial, customer, internal learning, growth. So this is the components inside the balance scorecard. Performance pyramids, we have three levels: business level, market, and financial. Market external and financial internal. So under the business operating system, right, which is also consists of the part of this tool, which is customer satisfaction, as I put here, external, flexibility external, which belongs to markets, right? However, flexibility also will involve financial. So this is how uh, it is located. Then productivity only internal. So only the flexibility share both of the market and financial, right? So the bottom level is the departments and work con departments and works contents, right? So here we have quality, delivery, so which external, right? And then cycle time, which is the internal. Move on. All right. So let's go through the. Yeah, I just take time to scroll out. All right. Then figures and moon. We have three blocks: dimensions, standards, rewards. Under dimensions, we have financial and non-financial. Then standards we have three: fair, achievable, clear targets. Rewards motivate, fair, link to results. So the concepts you understand here, the keywords, you write it down and you read it out. At the same time, when during the exam, even though the examiner may not give you the what are the components, but you can recall from what you practice, like what I say, to come with the point based on the model. Activity-based management. There are two: operational APM, strategy APM. Operational means doing things right? Strategy means doing the right things. Value-based management is about shareholder value creations where returns more than cost of capital. Then we have complex business structure, like using external partners. So the core company coordinate, right? The uh, external partners activities. So they must have the service level agreements, right? To agree what the terms, what's the result, right? To evaluate how good the external parties performance. Then we go to the next one. Okay, as you see here, the Portal 5 was already not in the new syllabus. So here we have SWOT analysis, so strengths and weaknesses, internal factors, opportunities and threats, external factors. And here, PEST analysis, political environment, economic environment, social factors, technological factors. Boston Consulting Group, BCG, high market share and growing. The products will be under star. High market share, but it is mature, right? So it will be categorized as cash cow. Low market share, but in the growing side, it will be called problem child. Low market share at the same time mature, then it's categorized as dot. So let's go to the next one. Risk of uncertainty decision making. Here we have maximi, maximax, minimax. So if it is the other person, the shareholder are risk averse, then this is how you can apply maximum, which is maximize the minimum payoff. That means they are very scared to take risks, right? If they are risk seeking, which is maximize the maximum payoff. Minimax regrets, lowest regret. This is how this you apply the concept, right? So describe the keywords. Then go to the next one. Okay. So budgeting. Then usually when dealing with budgeting questions, right? Um, advantages and disadvantages of various budgeting uh, can help you to provide the answer uh, relevant to the company. So like incremental budgeting, advantage simple to prepare, but the disadvantage will be slack. Zero-based budgeting, analyze costs uh, from the start to the end. Then it will involve time and efforts. Disadvantage. Rolling budgets will reduce the uncertainty. Realistic, right? However, involve money. If the company wants to uh, choose this rolling budgeting, right? Flexible budgeting highlight unusual capacity. If it's stable, fixed, so no use to have this flexible budgeting because the it is at a stable environment. Okay, then fixed budgeting will be recommended, right? Activity-based budgeting, it will be based on cost driver. So understand the cost driver, we're able to calculate based on the activity. Then it will suit the complex products, especially. Business process re-engineering, radical design, major improvements, high implementation costs, resistant. So this is the keywords under this business process re-engineering. Value change. We have primary and support. Inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and after sales service will be under primary. Support will be firm infrastructure, human resource management, technology development, procurement. This is the element of the value change. Business integration, this one McKinsey has already removed from the new syllabus. No longer have tested this topic. Move on. Mendelow's metric. Mendelow's matrix is especially useful to assess whether how important the shareholders is, how to address the need of the shareholders, for example. So based on the high power, based on the power and interest. So if high power, high interest means key players, they are very strong influence, right, over the company. High power, low interest just need to keep certified, less directly concerned. Low power, high interest, keep informed, little influence, right, because they have low power but high interest. Low power, low interest, then minimal efforts because distant that means distant relationship with the company. Then we have the sustainability, triple bottom line, which is economy, environmental, and social. Inside the new syllabus will be using the other terms, but the concept will be the same. So just we make sure that using the correct words, right? Apply the concept correctly. Then we have environmental management accounting, EMS. We have three life cycle costing. So from raw materials to disposal, right? Input output analysis, tracks input and outputs, reaching a process. Activity-based costing, environmental cost, activities cost drivers. So this is how you understand the key terms of the environmental management accounting. So we move on. All right. So this one is about the lean information system. So continuous improvement, customer value. So that they have one 5S here, which is sort, simplify, scale, standardize, sustain. Developments in information technology, we have ERP system. All right. That means combine all the business function, integrate into the system, right? Unified database, data sharing, which is very useful for the activity-based management because data sharing. Then somehow you can apply the activity-based management. Process automations replace manual tasks, okay, which is speed accuracy, right? Artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence AI mimics human decision making, right? Big data, we have to analyze patterns and trends, right? That have 5V. You need to remember volume, variety, velocity, veracity, value. Then we have data analytic. They have three types here: descriptive, diagnostic, predictive. This is based on the previous the new one maybe have some additional, but the concept is that you after you understand the syllabus, you want to make it memorable for the points. You just follow this will help you a lot when you want to recall what is inside this data analytic. All right, performance reports, right, aligns with organization's missions and objective, ensure proper measurement on subsidiary acts, appropriate layout and narrative, justify recommendations, non-financial performance. So this is the area under performance reports. Then, yeah, this one is EVA. So how the format, net profit after tax, add interest, net of debts, all right, development expenditure, capital in nature, less economic depreciation, then you get net operating profit after tax. Opening net asset divided by capital employed multiplied by WSC. This one is the capital charge. All right. So WSC here you need to have the after tax rate for the debt. And then NOPAT minus capital charge, which is this formula, right? Okay, then you will get the EVA. If positive created, negative destroy. So use your understanding to write down how the flow of the EVA. Then EBITDA is about cash flow, ROI, PBIT divided by capital employed multiplied by 100%. Residual income, RI, PBIT minus capital multiplied by WACC. MPV, forecast cash flow, total present value of inflows minus outflows of the cash flows. IRR and MIRR as well as transfer pricing excluded from the new syllabus. So we move on. Okay, this one is public sector performance. We have benchmarking, right? Benchmarking and league tables. But there will be a risk of gaining, right? Relative performance because this one is very subjective. Three is in very important one: economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Economy is cost of inputs, low risk, right? Efficiency is based on the output per input, right? Effectiveness is to achieve the objective. Then we have Japanese business practices. Kaizen, costing, continuous incremental cost reduction, employee-driven improvements, small changes. Target costing equal to market price minus desired profit. So it's useful for the product design to meet the cost at the design stage. Just in time, eventually arrive when needed. So reduce waste, holding costs. So reliable supplier also important in this just in time practice. Then we have total quality management. Well, right, this is for the customer certifications and continuous improvement. The end will be zero defects is the goal. This one is preventions to reduce the quality cost. Means that to ensure the cost of conformance, right, will help to reduce the cost of the non-conformance, right? So cost of conformance, prevention cost, and operation cost, cost of non-conformance, right, fail to meet the standards, internal failure cost, and external failure cost. Then we have Six Sigma. Six Sigma, which is about the data driven, right? To reduce the defects to near zero levels. So based on the DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve, control. So we have HR and human resource management. So if rewards, we can apply the building block models like the above one we already shared, I already shared with you. So we have effective standards, which is honest, ownership, achievability, equity. And then we have effective rewards, which must be clarity, controllability, and also motivation. Management style. So this one is also very important. Hopwood style, which is we have budget constraint, profit consign, or profit conscious, and non-accounting. So basically, this is how you can after you study and then you practice your questions for the exam, you do the last revisions using this method to summary. So make sure make it clear the flow, the concept, the point, so that you during your exam you're able to recall it easily. Hope these are surely useful for your exam, especially September exam is near the corner. Right. Thank you. Goodbye.